Last time in Climate Nuggets 13 we confirmed that living in the bottom layer of the atmosphere, our churning troposphere, is much like being in a pot of boiling water on the stove. The water is heated from the bottom, then the heated parcels surge upwards. Much like our weather surging to the top of the troposphere. But then it stops going up. Why is there a lid on our weather? Is there something fundamentally different in the composition of these two layers that is the cause of the lid on our weather? Take a look at this picture with the Space Shuttle Endeavour. The orange band at the surface is the troposphere and the very smooth white band is the stratosphere. There is no doubt the churning weather below has stopped at some point. We send up balloons and see that it is not some fundamental change in the atmospheric composition that suddenly changes at the border between the troposphere and the stratosphere. It's the same oxygen and nitrogen and trace gases. And they just get less dense and lower pressure smoothly. All the way from the surface to the top of the stratosphere and all the way to space. So nothing here would stop our weather at the troposphere-stratosphere boundary. So what is putting a lid on the troposphere? It turns out that the energy surging up from the surface can only go up so high. A packet of warm air and water vapor will only keep rising while that packet is lighter than the surrounding air. As it surges up, it moves up into the lower pressures of higher altitudes. This is exactly like bubbles rising up from a scuba diver. This lower pressure allows the packet to expand, which causes it to cool. At some point the packet is as cool and of the same density as the surrounding air, so no further motion upward will happen. So this is a natural self-induced lid. Here's the nugget. The air is packed toward the surface by gravity, so the pressure is much lower as you go up. The warmed air at the surface has to rise. As it rises, it expands since the surrounding lower pressure air can no longer push as hard against it. But it takes energy to expand. Expansion cools gases. Think of blowing on a hot drink through pursed lips. The expanding air is actually cooler than body temperature. The expanded gases cool to the same temperature as the surrounding gases, so there is no warmth to drive them higher. So the lid on the troposphere is simply that there's nothing pushing the weather higher. The takeaway from this nugget is that our churning weather troposphere does not stop at some altitude because the atmospheric gases are different or because the density or pressure goes through some radical change. But the troposphere puts a lid on itself by expanding and cooling as it surges up. It will only go up until it expands and cools and blends into the surrounding air. Next time we'll close up this mini-series on the two layers by discovering a new condition which occurs in the stratosphere and which causes it to warm up. The final question will be, why does the stratosphere get warmer with altitude and why do we care? The answer will be, as we've been hinting, the ozone layer. We'll see you next time.